were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday, 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. Remember, it is your country too.
They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday, 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. Remember, it is your country too.
They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday, 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. 174. Remember, it is your country too.
174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 174. 1 They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday, 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. Remember, it is your country too.
to know what to do like today. We tell God thank you for the peace we get in our motherland. Fumble ticking then, but not a book. So we all fall leave us one, 'cause there is no place like home. Take a look at the hills and the valleys, beautiful people with clean hands and happy faces. Welcome to Freedom Path, Salam Alek stranger. They lack their neighbor, they lack enjoyment, but they create trouble.
This is the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Tonight we present to you 7 out of the 16 presidential candidates who will be contesting the March 7 election. Well, we invited the 10 who did not take part in the February 15 presidential debate at Bintumani, but 7 of them honored our invitation. Well, the candidates did not make it to the February 15 debate. As a public service broadcaster, it is but prudent that we give them the opportunity to face the people of Sierra Leone and tell them about their plans for the country if any one of them is elected as the next president of this country. Well, this is how we are going to do this program. It is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. That is part of SLBC's corporate social responsibility to the people of this country. Well, the program will commence shortly. It has already commenced. But let us hear the Acting Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Samuel Rodney Valcase.
Good evening and welcome to a very important evening in the history of Sierra Leone. It is an epoch-making event today. On 15th February, as you are aware, there was a grand occasion in Sierra Leone at the Bintumani Conference Center. Leading political parties were converged because their candidates were invited to debate. There were those who were left out, for which they were not happy. They belong there. They're running too, for the position of president. But for some reasons, they could not meet the criteria of the organizers of that debate. Therefore, they were left out. The Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, one of West Africa's oldest broadcasting outfit, the oldest broadcasting institution in Sierra Leone, which started operations in 1934 and its television in 1963, is still up and alive. In fact, today it is the second national public broadcaster in the whole of Africa, the first in West Africa. Because it was created by an Act of Parliament in 2009 with loads of responsibilities, we thought it fit that those who were left out in the just concluded presidential debate are to be here within our precinct and to have their say. Of course, they have their supporters. They have their manifestos. We should listen to them. They have their own stories to tell. After all, any one of them could become president of Sierra Leone on 7th March. No one knows how things will play out. Those who have parliamentary candidates all over the country would have those parliamentary candidates being voted for. But people from all over the country may just decide to vote for one of these people here tonight, and one of them might emerge president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. A day in politics, they say, is a long time. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. We're in for 2 hours of interesting talk. We will be listening to presidential candidates for the 2018 elections. I welcome you all, and I'm happy that you've tuned in to the national broadcaster, the official voice of Sierra Leone, the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Once again, as I welcome you to this presidential debate of those who were left out in the just concluded presidential debate in Sierra Leone, I say thank you very much for tuning in, and do have an interesting time watching the national broadcaster as it continues with its responsibility of taking care of everyone of the nation. Once again, thank you very much and welcome.
Well, thanks to the Acting Director General, Samuel Valcase. Well, you need to know the parties that are taking part in tonight's debate. They are the RFP, NPD, UNPP, UP, PLP, NDA and RUFP. These are the 7 political parties that have come to take part in tonight's debates. And I'm sure you want to know who these presidential candidates are, where were they born, their educational qualification, and of course, what have they been doing, hence they want to become the next president of this country. Well, Anne-Marie Gegbaya will tell us exactly about the biography of each of the 7 presidential candidates.
RUF presidential candidate Antumana MP4Y was born in York Island, Bond District in 1961. He has served the party as Secretary General and National Chairperson. That's all for the RUFP's vice presidential candidates. And now to NDA's Mohammed Shengnobai. He was born in Freetown and raised in Kanal. He attended the UMC Boys Primary School and Ansarul Islamic Secondary School and moved back to Freetown. He also attended the St. Edward Secondary School and proceeded to the USA. He attended the Strayer University and holds a degree in business management from Atlanta, USA, and founding president of PFU, Georgia. He was also the president of the Sierra Leone Community Association in Atlanta, Georgia. He has also helped in supporting war wounded and amputees during the war. National Unity and Reconciliation Party NURP's Dr. Jonathan Sandi was born on the 24th of June 1966 in Koidu, Kana District. He schooled in the southern and northern regions of Sierra Leone. Universities and higher tertiary institutions was done in Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom. He has a professional experience in understanding Sierra Leone's economic and foreign policies and programming needs. Jonathan is both a national and international public figure who has made a career on being an expert on political and economic governance. Dr. Jonathan Sandi was a former chief of staff at ONS, head of UNDP governance, justice and rule of law in Sierra Leone, regional director CTA ECOWAS and UNDP regional security and governance program for West Africa. He was also director of United Nations Political Office in Somalia. National Progressive Democrats Patrick Oduaya was born in Lunsar 1976, attended primary school at Lunsar and Holy Trinity in Freetown, and completed his secondary education at the Albert Academy in Freetown. Patrick Oduwaya's got masters in communication technology from Strayer University, graduate certificate in project management, University of Maryland, management and leadership training from George Washington University. He also holds BSc in computer networking from Strayer University. He is the CEO for West African Produce, Palm Plantation, and produce palm oil and export to the USA. Import fertilizer, export fish and vegetables. Former project manager, United States Department of Treasury, Bureau of Fiscal Services for 10 years. He was also a consultant for the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. He has also served in the U.S. Department of Defense, Treasury, Southern Maryland Oil Company, Northrop and Grumman, Science Application Integration Corporation, M-Cubed Information Systems, and also founder and executive director, Save the Children of Africa Funds from 2000 to 2006. He has got Masters in Communication Technology from Strayer University, Graduate Certificate in Project Management, University of Maryland. Peace and Liberation Party Baba Conte, Dr. Baba Conte, is a Sierra Leonean and studied in Soviet Union. He holds a Masters in World History, PhD in Political Philosophy. He is the founding member of PLP, first National Secretary General, former Member of Parliament. two-time presidential candidate, leader, chairman, and political flag bearer. Unity Party's candidate Femi Claudius Cole has served as matron of the West African Health Clinic. She is also the founder of the Unity Party. And last but not the least, United National People's Party, Dr. Sir Henry Kabuta was born in Kaima Sanda Chiefdom, schooled at UMC Kaima Jama Secondary School and Prince of Wales in Freetown. He holds BSc Honors from FBC, Amsterdam, MSc from Amsterdam University, PhD in Organizational Leadership from Phoenix University in the United States of America. He has worked as Fisheries Pilot Project Officer at Tombo, Head of Department, Manager Kabuta International Trading, Chairman Foundation for the Development of Sierra Leone. He has also organized international conference on the challenges and opportunities for the management of marine and fresh waters of Sierra Leone. He has coordinated environmental and social impact assessment for fiber optics installation in Sierra Leone. Senior specialist and advisor in the Netherlands Ministry of Infrastructure and Environment for 30 years. He was also project manager at Aliyus Pigis Management, Wonder Sea, project manager, Ballard Water Management, Netherlands representative, specialist, EU Marine Framework Directive, and specialist, national representative, non-indigenous position working group, OSPA. That's all asked me for the profile of our candidates here tonight.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie Goodbye. Well, viewers, you are watching the presidential debate, which is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Tonight, SLBC has given opportunity to, well, we gave the opportunity to 10 of the presidential candidates who did not take part in the February 15 debates had been to Mali, but only 7 of them turned up. Tonight, as Sierra Leoneans, you have the opportunity to listen and hear from them. We are also doing a simulcast of this program on SLBC Radio, that's FM 108. Shortly from now, we shall hear from the presidential candidates who are going to tell us about what their plans are for this country if any one of them emerges as the next president of Sierra Leone. Well, today's debate will focus on some thematic areas like the environment, entertainment, tourism and culture, and social security, among others. The debate is going to last for 2 hours. After the first hour, we are going to have a break. We've already read the ground rules. We have a group of audience who are also here to take part in this program, but there will be no clapping, and that's just one of the rules that we've informed them about. But let's us also inform you that according to the balloting, each candidate is going to talk to you now. They are going to tell us about themselves and their parties in 2 minutes, why they think the people of Sierra Leone should give them the opportunity to become the next president of this country. Well, according to the ballot that they did, where start number 1 is RUFP. The man representing the RUFP tonight is here, and he is going to tell us in 2 minutes why he thinks the people of Sierra Leone should vote for him come March 7th.
My name is Asmana MP4I. I'm the vice presidential candidate for the Revolutionary United Front Party. I'm representing Madam Gobe here because she is not here presently. We want the people of Sierra Leone to vote for us because we are presenting the right agenda to them. Our agenda manifesto is called Agenda for Radical Transformation of Structures, Attitudes, and Behavior. We believe that the people of Sierra Leone need new approach to the problems that we are facing in this country. And not only the structures and attitudes we are looking at, also we have to look at the laws and the institutions that we need to reform. Because we are giving a new approach to the people of Australia, we think that we are the right people to handle the power of this country.
Well, he is the vice presidential candidate of the RUFP. Well, the second person we are going to hear from is the flag bearer of NPD, that the National Progressive Democrats. He is Patrick Oduwaya. He is also going to tell us about his party and why he thinks his party should be given the chance to occupy State House after March 7.
Well, firstly, I thank God for the opportunity to address the nation about our vision for this country. We have a nationalistic development approach to governance. We believe that Sierra Leone must begin to work for Sierra Leoneans. We have what we call the Golden Opportunity Ring for our manifesto, and we're looking at the E cube H square model. The E stands for education, economy, environment, and then the H square is health and housing. Those are our focus, high priority objectives for the country. But the rest of the other activities our government will work on will come after that. The social welfare structures, sports and tourism. But some of those activities actually also come under the economy. So for my vision for this country and our party's vision is a transformative vision. We know that we have a significant amount of unemployment that is directly related to the illiteracy rate in this country, almost 70% illiteracy rates amongst the youth population, and 65% unemployment in the youth population. That's a direct correlation of being illiterate. You don't get the opportunities that are available to be productive in society. So we want to spend $1 billion into education to transform the educational system and begin to curtail the rate of illiteracy in the country. So I think I'll pause for a second as we carry on.
Well, that is the presidential candidate of the NPD. Well, we are also now going to the presidential candidate of UNPP, who is Sir Henry Kabunta. He's also going to tell us in 2 minutes why the people of Sierra Leone should vote for his party, March 7.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Sir Henry Kabunta. I am a flag bearer for UNPP, the LAMP, commonly known. This was party registered by Dr. Kelper Smart late in 1995. 6 months afterwards, there was a general election that he won. And I know the people of Sierra Leone could still remember Dr. Kelper Smart, one of the brilliant Sierra Leoneans ever lived. And I'm standing today in his shoes to carry the philosophy he put into this party, to carry it forward. And this is a party with integrity, a lot of integrity, respect, and it's a party that is meant to unite all Sierra Leoneans and to also reduce the deprivation of Sierra Leoneans for a lot of things like social services, and the spirit is being carried out as we deliberate within our party and even transform our constitution to suit the modern, the present situation in the country. When we get the power in Sierra Leone, we are going to carry out the philosophy as laid down in 1995, and we are going to make sure that sectors like agriculture, poverty alleviation, education, environment and natural resources, transportation, energy are being cared for. We know that people of this country have been deprived for too long, for more than nearly 60 years now. So we are going to reverse the whole situation in this country.
Well, he is the presidential candidate of the UNPP, Dr. Sir Henry Kabunta. Well, let us now also go to the Unity Party, the presidential candidates. The only female here tonight, Femi Claudia School.
My name is Femi Claudia School, the founder of Unity Party. I think Sierra Leone is ready for a change. I think Sierra Leone is ready for a president that can move Sierra Leone forward. For the longest time, Sierra Leone has been marching on one spot. We take a step forward and we take 3, 4 steps backwards. I think Sierra Leone is ready to have a president that loves the people of Sierra Leone. One that loves the country and loves the people. And if you love the people of Sierra Leone, you want to see Sierra Leone progress. You want to see the standard of living of the people of Sierra Leone go up. Walking through the streets of Freetown and seeing people collecting water in the gutters, children not in school, people sick with no money to go for medical care. I think Sierra Leone has had just about enough of that. We all realize that we're living in a country that has unbelievable potential wealth. Sierra Leone is not a poor country. Only the people of Sierra Leone are poor. I think it's time for a president that is in love with the Sierra Leonean people. And if you claim to love the Sierra Leonean people, you don't want them to suffer. You don't want women who are pregnant and unable to access medical care. You don't want children who need surgery who cannot afford it. You don't want children who are ready for college, but they can't even afford the forms for college. I think we need a president this time around that can move Sierra Leone forward, and one that can actually unite Sierra Leoneans. Unity Party is one that, even our logo, our symbol, is based on all of us holding hands together. No tribal, no regional, just Sierra Leoneans coming together, working together to make Sierra Leone a place where we can all live comfortably. There is no reason for Sierra Leone to have the level of poverty that we're having right now. We are rich in mineral resources. We are rich in marine resources. Sierra Leone has excellent timber. I've just been around the country and I've just been amazed at the quality of timber we have here. The riches of Sierra Leone for the people of Sierra Leone. It's about time.
Well, she is the presidential candidate of the United Party, Femi Claudius School. Well, let us now go to the presidential candidate of PLP, Dr. Baba Conte.
I'm Honorable Dr. Kande Baba Conte, leader, chairman, and presidential flag bearer of the Peace and Liberation Party. Our party was formed in 2001, just after the war, and we formed it together with retired Lieutenant Colonel John Paul Kurma, and I became the first Secretary General. We've gone through all the struggle in this country, and we understand the problems of this country better. We have very good relationship with everybody, all institutions. We are not belligerent in character, and I think we've made that mark all these years of our existence. We want to bring peace. We want to bring peace in this country, because if you want to bring any development, I think the foremost thing which we think about is how to create a condition, very good condition of peace. And I think one of the ways to do that is that we have to be self-critical. We have to recognize, we need an overhaul of the system. The whole system, I think that was what, and self-critical is that we should recognize the fact that not only one particular political party is responsible for the situation we are in right now. And I think that was what Dr. Samuel Kamara was trying to say when he, although people misinterpreted him, when he recognized the fact that all governments have made mistakes. And you know, when you are self-critical, you give room to forge ahead. But if you keep on saying everything is bright and beautiful, then I think we will be genuine. Let me just put it in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baba Conte, the flag bearer of the PLP. Next is the flag bearer of the National Democratic Alliance, NDA, Mohammed Siba.
Thank you very much, Asmiu, for moderating this debate. I want to take the opportunity to thank SLBC for their leadership and for organizing this debate. 13 days ago, the February 15 debate was a historic mistake because many of us on the panel here were excluded. Thank God SLBC have rewrite the wrong. The debate on the 15th of February was about the old Sierra Leone that we know. It was about who did the worst about Sierra Leone. it was about the missed opportunities that could have been done to help this country move forward.
Mr. Ba, you have 2
So
minutes.
today,
I think it would
I
be
want
nice
to say,
if you can focus on
today,
your party's vision.
I want to focus about the new Sierra Leone. I want to focus about the NDA, which is a platform for change. At the NDA that is interested in building a new Sierra Leone of an ethically committed leadership, an NDA that is focused in addressing the issue of corruption, the NDA as a political party under my leadership that is focused on addressing the social service issues, education, health, women's empowerment, gender issue, and a Sierra Leone that is focused on a stable economy, a Sierra Leone where once again pride is restored. This is the Sierra Leone that the National Democratic Alliance and my candidacy want to build. Ending the cycle of poverty, building a new future, building hope, building opportunities, allowing our young people today to be able to wake up in the morning, go to work, earn income, and support their family. This is the Sierra Leone that the National Democratic Alliance would like to build.
Thank you very much, Mohamed Siba, the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Alliance, NDA. Now let us hear from Dr. Jonathan Sandy. He is the presidential candidate for the National Unity and Reconciliation Party.
Thank you, my brother Ba, and thank you to the management of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Again, let me join my colleagues that this is a privilege, an opportunity for us to lay to our vision to the people of this country. I know some of you are here, we already have a shared vision for this country. But on behalf of the National Unity and Reconciliation Party, and as your presidential candidate, I want to tell the people of Sierra Leone that we know that you are aware of the multiple and complex challenges that our country is faced with, whether it's for cliques and gang groups, whether it is around debt, external debt, which obviously this government is going to leave behind, huge sum of external debt. Just this week and last week, we know we have a number of external debt we are putting on floor. We know that there are a number of transnational organized crime that is taking place in our ICs and in our land border areas. We know that global health crisis like Ebola is not still finished yet, though it started in neighboring countries. With all of those multiple complex challenges we have, including 60 to 70% of our youth, which are our population that are unemployed, our vision is to ensure that we address those issues. And how do we want to do that? We know that since the end of the war, our transformation as a nation has been slow, unlike Rwanda, unlike countries like Angola. So how do the National Unity and Reconciliation come to fix that? Our vision here is anchored around the principles of good governance. When we say National Unity and Reconciliation, we want to implement 3 or 4 priority programs for this country. One, we want to ensure that we fix the economy, and we know that external debt, as I mentioned, the interest rate, the GST is killing people. We know that, number 2, we want to focus on fighting for the political rights of our youth, students, and vulnerable groups, those who have suffered from flooding, those who have suffered from mudslide, those who have suffered from Ebola. Our job here is to ensure that we enhance government social programs, whether in the health sector, in the education sector, including affordable housing, because I know we are going to talk about environment tonight, but I know that part of the challenge we have is shelter in this country. Number 3, we want to see that we strengthen our rule of law, our criminal justice system, and the national security system, because we know that safety and security is an issue. Our constitution has been undermined, the sacking of our former vice president, de-amalgamation of this country, voters' right for diaspora. Those are things we want to manage in pillar 3. Then pillar 4 is really about building public trust in state and democratic institutions through local empowerment. Our local councils are not working, decentralization is not working, our independent media commission is not working. We want to make sure that we fix that and create national budget for them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Sandy, the flag bearer of the National Unity and Reconciliation Party. Well, viewers, you've listened to these Sierra Leoneans who are vying for the office of the president in Sierra Leone come March 7. You've listened to them. They've told you exactly what their visions are for this country. Well, let us start the debate proper now. Now we are going to start with the issue of environment. In 2017, on the 14th of August, to be precise, Sierra Leoneans woke up that morning and realized that nature had dealt a heavy blow on the city of Freetown, an area called Motome in the western rural districts. Well, part of Mount Sugarloaf caved in, leading to a massive mudslide and flooding that washed away story buildings and killing close to 1,000 people. Well, the August 14 disaster was a wake-up call to Sierra Leone's environment. The country has recorded high temperatures as a result of climate change. Now the people of Sierra Leone want to know the plans of your various political parties when it comes to protecting the environment. If one of you emerges as the president of Sierra Leone after March 7, what is your package for the environment? Well, this time I'm going to start with the second person according to the ballot, who is the presidential candidate for the NPD, Patrick Udwaya. I will give you 2 minutes to tell us about your plan for the environment.
Well, first of all, we will enforce the laws that are in the books right now. Today, we have environmental policies and laws that are restricting certain areas in the country that are considered protected areas. We've seen that the officials, government officials that are supposed to protect the environment are the first ones to violate the environment. The Ministry of Land is very rampant in encroaching in protected areas that are marked for the forest. Mount Sugarloaf, the disaster that occurred August 14, 2017 should have not occurred. Under my watch, we will enforce those laws and make sure we relocate the people that are there. Some people actually paid for those lands, even though those transactions are actually illegal transactions. We will, if that is the case, that they paid for those lands at the Ministry of Lands, then government is responsible because somebody acted on behalf of government. So we would have to relocate those people, provide proper shelter for them, not just shanty shelter. Last week I went to Matome, and the victims, the flood victims there, are telling me they received 2,100,000 leones as benefit. Now we all know that that money is not even enough to pay for rent for 2 months. So what some of us will do, Patrick Udwaya, part of our housing budget, which is $1 billion, will go towards building these affordable homes. These are not just low-cost housing. These are high-rise buildings that are capable of handling between 250 families to maybe 500 families. And we know the cost of those. Each building will cost about $15 million. So you can actually resettle families into very good structured buildings that have the facilities to maintain the lifestyle of people and ensure that their dignities are restored. In terms of the deforestation, we want to make sure we replenish the forest back by replanting the forest. We've seen over the years a lot of deforestation is taking place as a result of the timber business, the export of timber. So some enforcement has to take place with the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. And also, part of the environment is the pollution issue. We want to deploy technology that can ensure that the pollution issues are curtailed. The burning of tires. There are systems in place where you can actually take all these rubbers and reprocess them to reclaim energy by actually producing crude oil.
Well, thank you very much, Patrick Udwaya, the flag bearer of the NPD. Let me also now go to Madam Femi Claudius School. What is your party's vision when it comes to protecting the environment? On the 14th of August, as you heard from my intro, we had the disaster Motome. We are in close to more than 500 Sierra Leoneans lost their lives. The people of this country want to know, what is your party's policy in terms of protecting the environment?
Protecting the environment is a wide topic. We have the concept of people building in areas that are not safe. There should be a Department of Town Planning that should be on their A game to monitor people not building houses in places that are unsafe for them. We also have to explore the reasons why people are building on unsafe lands. As we drive around the country, we see acres and acres of breathtakingly beautiful land spaces. Why are people not building homes there? Are we having overpopulation of the cities? People are leaving upcountry and coming to Freetown. Why? We have to explore the why. And everybody's in search of prosperity. They're coming here to find jobs and to find a means of living. If we are to stimulate the economy and start producing stuff up country and producing good quality jobs, then there will be very little reason for people to all try to concentrate on Freetown. But the environment goes further than just building homes in unsafe places, which leads to the mudslides and stuff like that, and the flooding, Crew Bay, and other communities like that. We also have to look at the felling of trees. The rate at which we are felling trees in Sierra Leone is alarming. There's no way we can be planting at the rate at which we are felling. The weather in some areas, I was in Kamakwe just a few days ago, the weather in Kamakwe has changed because we're felling trees at such massive amounts. Of course, they're wrecking the roads in the process. We also have to look at our health in terms of our environment. You drive through the streets of Freetown, all you see are gutters that are full of plastic. Gutters that are bubbling like a pot of stew. And the incidence of malaria is like unbelievable. So, and then we look at the burning of coal. We have to address all these issues. Why are people relying on what are we realizing from our timber? What is the cost to the environment of burning this much coal? Can we not start more on the gas? There are many areas we have to look on the environment. And the raw sewage that is being dumped into the ocean, that too has to be addressed. You drive through some of the beaches, it's floating with sewage and plastics and all of the above. All those are harming our environment. Those all have to be addressed.
Okay, thank you very much, Femi Claudius Cole. Now let me go to the presidential candidate of UNPP, Dr. Sir Henry Kabunta. What is your party's view in terms of protecting the environment? If you look at what is happening with the environment now, people say the environment needs urgent attention.
Yes, that's right. The environment should be given sufficient consideration in our leadership. One of the things that surprised me the most is the negligence of the present government or past government towards environment. You see, if UNPP takes the State House, one thing we would like to do is to map all environmentally vulnerable areas in Sierra Leone. We will map them that everybody knows it, that there should be no-go areas, not for housing, not for cultivation, not for any other thing, but to leave it to develop. That's the first thing. The incident, the mudslide incident, is impacting the present government's policy on housing projects. By right, every government needs to take the leadership in determining where inhabitants should build houses. This was not being controlled and nobody cared for it, and the result of it is a disaster. And every year we see that overflooding takes place in the Freetown area, but also in the provinces. In Bo, I've heard about that, and a lot of people lose their lives and property. That is also another negligence on the part of the local government and the central government. When my party comes into power, we are going to address all these issues. We are going to make sure that deforestation is curtailed. We are going to make sure that land degradation is upheld. And we are also going to make sure that pollution in terms of, human activities like mining in Kono, wherein you have people living on top of a hole, that's the kimberlite mining, and so people do carry out various human activities in this country without enough or sufficient consideration for the impact on the environment. I've seen a lot. I've done environmental impact studies in this country. I've seen a lot of projects being carried out without much consideration for the environment, and this will be reversed.
Okay. Thank you very much. He is the presidential candidate of UNPP, Dr. Henry Kabunta. Now let me go to the presidential candidate of the Revolutionary United Front Party, Ansu Manafowai. The current environment in Sierra Leone needs urgent attention. If you become the next president of Sierra Leone, what is going to be your focus and your priority in terms of addressing the environmental problem?
Thank you. Our first step will be to look at the laws of this country. We are still not comfortable with the laws of this country, and we continue to emphasize on the need to review the laws of this country. If the laws of this country relating to environment are really good, they are really impacting on the people, then we can either retain them or to review them. We also look at the institutions that are responsible to implement these laws, whether we have enough institutions to implement these laws or not. If we don't have the institutions to implement the laws, then we see that we provide the institutions that will implement these laws. They also look at the mechanisms like equipment or other things to see that these laws are upheld. We train enough personnel that we see that these laws are properly implemented. We also look at our own attitudes, we the people of Australia, towards these laws that we are intended to review. If our attitudes and behaviors are not commensurate to these laws that we will intend to review, I think we will be coming back to the same square one, because it is we the same Sierra Leoneans that take debt from our homes and throw them to the streets. It's we the same Sierra Leoneans that go to the forest and cut down the forest. It's we the same Sierra Leoneans that go and dig the roads. Everything that are happening here, we the Sierra Leoneans are responsible. So at times, we have to review, we have to take a responsibility for our own actions in this country. Let our behaviors and attitudes be commensurate to the laws that we think they are good for this country.
Thank you very much, the presidential candidates of the Revolutionary United Front Party, RUF. Now let me go to Dr. Jonathan Sandi. The current state of our environment says if things continue this way without urgent action, some say the worst is yet to come. As president of Sierra Leone, what's going to be your priority for the environment?
Thank you, Ba. As president, first of all, let me demonstrate that I have an institutional memory of where we took the National Disaster Vulnerability Assessment in from 2001 to 2004, thanks to UNDP for funding colleagues like Mary Mai Kamara, when we managed that report. Both analyzed vulnerability to our environment and natural resources in terms of human activities and obviously artificial and natural disaster. So in that process, we are able to define a number of vulnerabilities and risks that are starting with our environment and land in particular. What we noted that, so what it means is that I'm aware that we have an opportunity here. We have the Office of National Security with the National Disaster Risk Management thing. I'm also aware of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Act, which was enacted by law by Parliament in 2008. During that process, although the Environmental Protection Agency was established, is under the Office of the Presidency. So based on the instrument of national power, one of the challenges I know that those agencies and institutions are faced with, it is a lack of collaboration and cooperation. There is no coherent national policy to do with our environmental thing. And therefore what you see, both in terms of environment and climate change, we have a challenge there. So as president, my first priority will be to ensure that some of the policy formulation in terms of coherent arrangement, I'm able to provide that, which can deal with not only natural disasters, but issues that have to do with man-made deforestation and that. So policy, and then to strengthen the Environmental Protection Agency to ensure that they do their job in terms of regulatory frameworks, make sure that we get the right regulatory program, and also on civil society aspect. I'm also aware of the civil society, the Conservative Society of Civil Society, thanks to Dr. Banya and others who we know over 20 years and ago have been working on environment. So bring the civil society.
Dr. Sandi, your 2 minutes is up. Well, he is Dr. Jonathan Sandi. Now, the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Alliance, NDA. As president of this country, the way the environment is going, some people say the worst is yet to come. What would you do to reverse the situation?
Well, first of all, I would like to express my condolences to those who lost their life during the tragedy. I want them to know, if you are homeless today, you don't have a home, when Mohamed Siba becomes the next president of Sierra Leone, I want you to know that this nation will care for you. The issue of land and the environment, this happens first of all because of human activities. Land degradation takes place because of mining activities and erosion problem. And also, when we build in flood-prone areas, the risk of flooding is very, very high. Human activities such as burning of the forest also cause to an environmental problem. Timber logging, these are all situational problems that would affect the environment. But I want to focus on the solution. What is the NDA solution to this problem? What would I do as president to mitigate the problem? First of all, we need to have a policy of reforestation. If we have a land area where the trees are being cut down, we need to plant more trees. We need to support organizations that enforce conservatism and planting of trees. Secondly, we have to have a very strong, robust land policy. You cannot build in areas that are flood prone. So our land policy should gear towards not providing building permits, not allowing our citizens to build homes in areas that are flood prone. We have to have a better drainage system. We have to have an engineering drainage system where when we have a downpour of rain, okay, water can flow in the appropriate channel so that it would avoid what you call overflowing. So the NDA concept,
thank you
in terms
very
of
much,
addressing
Mr.
the mining.
Your 2 minutes is up. Dr. Baba Conte of the PLP party, as president of this country, what's going to be your first priority in terms of addressing the environmental problem? Your first priority?
Thank you very much. Before I go to my first priority, we have to make our people understand certain things. That natural disasters are natural disasters, and you cannot blame any government for that. We've had floods in America, hurricanes, but nobody had them blaming their governments. And they are natural disasters. They are natural disasters. And so mentioning Ebola and all those things, they are all natural disasters. First and foremost, policy should reflect the conditions existing. And in our own situation, we'll pay attention to cleaning the environment. As one of my colleagues mentioned, a lot of filth all over the place. And this has been going on for years. For over 20 years now, we've been struggling with this dirt and rubbish all over the place. And I think what we'll do is that we'll try to recycle. I think because we've not been recycling the dirt or the rubbish that has been all over the place, that's why we have this faith. I think we should sensitize our people. We should sensitize our people as we need more sensitization. Because if the people don't understand, they will definitely go there again. Many times governments have located people during this Mabela or down the bay. But what happened is that they go back to those places. So I think they go back because of economic activities. So we try to create enabling environments in those areas that that will prevent the floods affecting them, and then so that they have economic activities even where they are located.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baba Conte. We have also been joined in the studio by another person who is Bresford Victor Williams. He is the presidential candidate for the Republic National Independence Party, RENIP. He attended the St. Edward's Secondary School. He studied at Liverpool University and obtained BA Honours International Business and MSc in Computing. He is also a qualified chartered accountant and works with many multinational and international organizations in the world. Welcome, Bresford Victor Williams.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to tell the people of this country your vision for protecting the environment. 2017, we had the mudslide at Motome. We are in more than 500 Sierra Leoneans lost their lives. Some people say Sierra Leone's environment needs urgent attention. As president of this country, what's going to be your priority to reverse the current trend of the environment degradation?
Well, first of all, we need to understand that environment belongs to all of us and our future generations. So we, as a government, should be able to protect the future assets of our unborn generation. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to make sure that the people that live around these areas that are degrading the environment, they need to make either contribution or we will pass a law. It shows the ineffectiveness of the current system or the government that they can't easily implement the laws, because we have laws and bylaws that should protect our lands, that should protect the wells, they should protect all the degradation in Sierra Leone. But these laws are not being properly instituted, and this is what is creating the problem, that people just think that they can go and do what they feel like. And the main reason being is that when we did the research, we found out that the legal system is so entangling that nobody seems to understand the net that we're in. And we'll make sure that first of all, that the legal system is correctly in place, and secondly, the laws of this land are properly upheld. And we'll make sure not just the headmans or the people living around or the directors for these institutes, but they are accountable correctly. And on the remit, environment is part of our agenda to make sure that everybody understands the principles of the quality of life.
Okay. Well, here's Westford Victor Williams, the presidential candidate for Republic National Independence Party. Now, let me give 30 seconds each to each of the presidential candidates here. Let me start with you, Dr. Jonathan Sandy. Some people say the political will is the problem to addressing many of these problems. Now, with this, the environment as the context we are discussing for now, what difference would you bring when it comes to political will?
I'm very aware of the instrument of national power which a president used. As I made, once the policies are there, one of the policies since independence we have not adopted one is affordable housing, which we government should not be giving work permit or building permit or selling land to people there. Because what we should do is to bring shelter to people. We know deforestation and people wrongly sell because you want to buy political capital. Under my auspices as president, my political will be to make sure that affordable housing is the way to go. Once we build houses for our people, the most vulnerable people, then we will not.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Sandy. Mohamed Siba of NDA. Many times people say once the president occupies State House, his hands are tied to take certain decisions. What difference would you bring in terms of taking tough decisions to address the environment?
Because I would focus on an ethically committed leadership. A leadership that is based on trust, a leadership that is based on accountability, a leadership that is based on transparency. And more importantly, not a leadership that is based on self, but a leadership that is based on people-centered type of leadership. That is the political will that I will have to change this nation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Baba Conte. The issue of political will to take certain tough decisions, for instance, if I were to ask you to relocate certain people in certain communities, would you have that courage to sit at State House and give the order?
You know, there has always been political will throughout, even before now. I think we want to make great leaps. Most of the decisions, our actions, let me put it this way, our actions are determined by subjective factors because of our economic level of development. Why I say we want to make great leaps is that a lot depends on the economy. The type of economy you have will be the type of infrastructure you have. If you have a weaker economy, the laws will be weak.
Thank you, Dr. Baba Conte. Your 30 minutes is up. Madam Femi Claudia School. Many times people say the president has so many people who influence his decision. What difference would you be?
I think my decisions are going to base, whatever decision I make, My biggest concern will be what impact those decisions are going to have on the life of the Sierra Leonean people. I strongly believe in round pegs being in round holes. And for as long as you try to fit a round peg in a square hole, you're then committed to other factors that are influencing your decision-making capability. I will boldly do what I feel is best for the Sierra Leonean people. And whatever hard decisions I have to make, I will make them.
Madam, your time is up. Dr. Kabunta, many decisions in Sierra Leone, people say president don't take them because if they do, they will hurt certain people. How would you tackle such a situation if you face it?
In the first place, I'm used to research. I'm environmental research, environmental scientist. So in making decisions for environment, I believe that I should have credible team to investigate and advise me on the pros and cons of certain decisions regarding environment. And I will put that forward to the Sierra Leonean people and then let them know that not acting might be disastrous. So I will take the best.
Your 30 seconds is up. Patrick Udwaya, let's say you have been elected as the president of Sierra Leone. You are voted for by Sierra Leoneans. And it comes to your desk or to your table that you have to take this decision. Once you take it, you are going to save the environment, but also the political ramifications.
Well, first of all, you must have sincerity of purpose. That's what Patrick Odua brings to this ticket. We are sincere, we've shown love for country and discipline. So I will make the decision in the best interest of the country without sentiment, but I will ensure I factor in empathy. So when a decision about the environment will require some people to be moved out of certain areas for their own good, we will ensure that we put mechanisms in place not to displace those people. So the empathy factor comes in with preparation. So that's what Patrick Olua will do is, you know, this whole debate...
Your 30 minutes is up, sir. Sorry, 30 seconds. Mr. Mansumana Fawai from the RUFP.
Yes.
The issue of decision is very key for the presidency. And sometimes, once you want to decide, so many factors come on board. How would you address that?
The decision must be based on the provision of the Constitution. Section 5(2)(b) says that the primary responsibility of government is the security, peace, and welfare of the people of Sierra Leone. Without degrading from that provision, I think you have no right to influence any other institution that have the mandate to implement those laws. I think I would not interfere with the provisions or the institutions that will implement these laws.
Okay, now the Beresford Victor Williams, the presidential candidate for the Republic National Independent Party. The issue of political will is very crucial, and you've been voted for. Let's say you've become the president. Your voters, you need to satisfy them. You also need to satisfy the environment. How will you manage these two interests?
Well, first of all, we need to know that whenever we take decisions, it's not a slightly thing. We'll make sure that we got all the facts, and if the facts are tied in, then these, sometimes as a leader, you have to make tough decisions. I'm used to making tough decisions. Sometimes, most people, it might even go against their will. But I know that doing that is the right thing, and you will always benefit from you will always gain the benefit in taking those decisions. And the environment and whatever we're going to be doing should always be merry in society, and we'll always make sure that everybody got everything they wanted.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we've just received some messages here before we go for our first break. Let me just read this one. It says, as water is Freetown's #1 challenge, what would you do to improve the present situation? Which one of you will be ready to break all houses that are built in 10 kilometers on all sides of Guma Dam and replacing them with trees, as houses should not be in catchment area? This is coming from Bannerford Farmer. Well, we are going for a break. After the break, we shall be back for the second segment of this presidential debate for 8 presidential candidates who are contesting the March 7 elections.
They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday, 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. Remember, it is your country too.
tell you, say come and join me. So sweet alone, in motherland, how I love you so. Sweet, sweet alone, in motherland, how I love you so. They like waiting people say, or waiting up in there. Mama salon, you go always be me, yo. They like I talk, walk so hard, time, you know they listen, oh, so that time. Mama salon, you go always be me, yo. We get down on backside in my lights and plenty thing for it. Fine, fine, go, in fine, fine, TTM. Go the land of a culture, red is the love we have for thee. Home sweet home, we'll never forget our native land. In no matter how sad you dey, wetin you be, I like some matter. In the timmy limba Creole, I like some matter. In no matter how sad you dey, wetin you be, I like some matter. Whether you black or white, I like some matter.
They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. Remember, it is your country too.
They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates.
Well, we are back after that break. We are watching the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. We are having our own presidential debate for 8 presidential candidates. The program started, we just discussed the issue that had to do with the environment. Now we want to go to another issue. This time we want to look at tourism. Sierra Leone has huge potentials when it comes to tourism. It is a country that is known for its pristine beaches and rich history, plus many species of animals that attract tourists. With all these plethora of tourist attractions, the country has realized little gains from this sector. Tourism alone can contribute greatly to Sierra Leone's economy, like it is currently doing for another country in West Africa called the Gambia. What do political parties have for the untapped industry of ours, which is tourism? Let me start with you, Mohamed Siba from the National Democratic Alliance, NDA. Tourism, as I said in my intro, has huge potential in Sierra Leone, but we have not derived the necessary benefit that we should do as a country. What is your party's plan if you become the next occupant of State House? What kind of turnaround are you going to bring in the tourism industry?
Well, as part of our diversification plan, because in Sierra Leone for the past 50+ years, we've had a single base economy.
I'm sorry, you have 2 minutes, sir.
2 minutes, okay. So our plan is to diversify our economy. Tourism is one of the sectors. In Sierra Leone, we have historic tourist sites. we have species, we have rich cultural heritage and tradition. So the NDA plan is to develop a tourism policy where we can develop those historic sites. For example, like Bunch Island, a site that have a history of the slave trade. There are still some fortresses there that can give us a history about the slave trade. So in the NDA, what we want to do is to develop those sites so they can become a tourist center. Developing the tourism, we are looking at two reasons why we feel that's a very important sectoral area. It is a revenue generating area. It is also a tax incentive area where government can get a lot of revenue. Also, it can create job opportunities for young Sierra Leoneans who today, many of them, are roaming in the streets of this country with no jobs. So we have a policy where we will develop those sites. For example, our zoo, we still have animals where tourists have a lot of interest to come and go to the zoos. We have pristine beaches there where we can develop resorts that can attract tourism. So our policy on the tourism sector is to rebuild those historic sites, explore and let tourists know that we have a rich tradition. We have great museum. We will develop the museum that we have here.
Mr. Bai, your time is up, sir. Dr. Babaconte of the PLP, do you think tourism alone, or do you think tourism has the potential to turn Sierra Leone's economy around? If yes, what is your strategy for that?
Of course, it has
in 2 minutes.
It has the potential to turn the economy around. And tourism is not just about hotels and beaches. We'll restore our historical places, our historical sites. We'll pay attention to our flora and fauna. I mean, our animal kingdom and plant kingdom. And we'll improve on excursions, and then first and foremost, and then further we'll it's just improving the whole, tourism. You cannot do tourism, and when you are talking about historical sites, we'll open up new places by encouraging archaeology.
So how will you do that, sir?
Archaeology, well, archaeology is to go to historical places and do some digging. Then you come with, I think we have historical places that have not yet been excavated. You see, you cannot do tourism without archaeology. Because archaeology, brings out certain old sites that,
Have you already marked those sites?
Well, when you come to power, you'll have to do that. Yes, I know we have historical places in our country.
You still have more time. Do you want to continue?
Oh, of course, yes. Let me say, it's to protect tourism. You cannot do tourism again without protecting the environment. That's very important also, because if you want to attract people, the environment also should be clean and up to date.
Okay, he is the candidate of PLP. Madam Femi Cole, do you think tourism has the potential to turn things around in Sierra Leone?
I think tourism has a big role to play. Sierra Leone really does have untapped potential. As I have traveled around the country, the beauty of Sierra Leone is totally breathtaking. And if we are to engage in tourism, it has to be responsible tourism where the communities are involved. Sierra Leone has mountains, it has the forests, it has rivers, it has everything that a tourist is looking for. But we're going to need investors. They're going to have to feel that Sierra Leone is a safe place for them to come and invest. Are we going to have the capability, the financial strength to develop a tourism to that level if we're to go into competition with places like the Bahamas, Jamaica, countries like that? We have what it takes in terms of natural beauty. Sierra Leone, I think, for me, traveled far and wide, Sierra Leone is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And if we have investors coming in, I think we can really increase our economy development, if we engage in tourism. For example, crafts. The local women can make made in Sierra Leone crafts. It's very hard to find quality made in Sierra Leone things. So I think tourism is one area that we should really look at, positively impact our environment, not to take advantage of the locals, but to enhance their lifestyle.
Dr. Sandy, how would you attract tourists to Sierra Leone?
It is clear. As we all know, they say Sierra Leone means a country of Lion Mountain, the Lion Mountain. And when you land at Lunge Airport, what you see is beauty. And that means when you look at the land, air, and sea, I have lived in Kenya for 7 or more years. I know that their economy is heavily dependent on tourism. And one of the approach we want to do, I would not want to rehearse what my colleagues have said, the lovely beaches we have, the river ride. But go to Yeliboya, Mapoto. We have in the Little Skiasis, there is a small animal called the manatee, save the manatee. When I used to work in the fisheries and marine, people come just to look at that animal. It's only unique in Sierra Leone. And when I was in Kenya, there is a hippopotamus which Shaka Stevie had donated in 1960 something to President Jomo Kenyatta. People struggle to go and see that hippopotamus. It's still alive. And what I'm saying is there's so much we have, like my colleagues were saying, the zoo and the beach sector. We just need to attract. And what do we want to do? We want to make sure that the Ministry of Tourism link its effort with culture, because we need to have that. Second, make sure that we have a coherent policy framework that can support the attraction of that, and then intensify our diaspora engagement, because this is a source of external foreign policy. Tourism must be there, and tell people that we have all this beauty along the Great Skiasis, along the northwest coast of Sierra Leone. And therefore, in our own take, the solution would be get the right type of policy, engage in an intensified tourism engagement, diaspora visit, attract people like they are doing in Kenya, and then obviously the airport will have to be something we do not the mama. We want to ensure that we increase hotel, and then for our local consumption, we make sure that we have rates for Sierra Leoneans to enjoy the hotels over weekend. We have weekend rates in Kenya. Why can't we have weekend rates so our family will be there? They strengthen our relationship within the Mano River Union in terms of the 15 protocol, so that the roads and the interlink between Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, and that can increase our tourism.
Thank you. Patrick Uduwaya, as president of Sierra Leone, people say the tourism alone, if we can focus on it, it's going to be a big boost for our economy. What do you think is the magic bullet that you will use?
Well, tourism is part of my economic plan, and I think the investment that is required is not in tourism today. We must invest in the infrastructure. When people look for places to go, they want to go to places that are beautiful, places that has some kind of sentimental attachment to it and feel. So what I will do is I look at what we have. We have the nice beaches, the river falls, the mountain, the cultures, infrastructure, and the diamonds. Okay? So I want to bring Golden Diamond Institute of America from Florida, have them right here in Kenema to make our diamonds. We dig them here, we cut them here, so this place can be a tourist attraction. You come with your wife to pick out beautiful jewelry that you pay half the price you pay in India or Belgium for. It costs $285 to take raw diamond out of here. And when it's cut there, it's $2,850 to $6,000. If it's cut in India, you pay $2,850. If it's cut in Israel or Belgium somewhere, it can go up to $6,000. Why don't we have the institution here? That's why I want to spend $1 billion in education, yes, because I can create the infrastructure to make sure that we have the skill set and capacity right here in Kenema, so we can mine our diamond, cut them, polish them, and market the country that you want beautiful diamonds. To all the lovers out there, come to Sierra Leone. You enjoy our beaches, you enjoy our mountains, you enjoy our river falls, you enjoy our culture and food, and then you can pick your wife a beautiful piece of gem.
Mr. Odua, sorry to come in, sir, but not all tourists will be coming to find diamonds.
It's just one. You come for tourism for specific things. Some people will come for the natural beauty. Some will come, I'm creating another avenue that will bring people to Sierra Leone. People travel to Belgium for prostitution. People travel to Holland for that. So you come to Sierra Leone to find diamonds, you come to Sierra Leone to enjoy the facilities in this country. We'll build infrastructures.
Kabunta, you
Are you of the view that tourism can bail Sierra Leone out of its current quagmire?
Yes, I believe that that can happen. And our plan is, the UNPP plan is to educate most of our brothers in the tourism ministry. We could send them abroad to get more training as to how to develop our tourist areas. I believe here in Sierra Leone, we look at certain things like migratory birds that do in the winter, they come down here, in the summer they go back to Europe. These are all tourist attractions. But water sports, we go to the Lumley Beach, you see a lot of people standing and looking at the sea. You know, where I've been in the last 30 years, they go into the water. They do water sport. That brings more money to Sierra Leone. And we need to have good roads to access all historical areas in this country. There are a lot of new, nice places to be viewed. For example, in Kono, where the old SLST was, there are still remnants of relics of buildings that could be seen as tourist sites. We have to encourage investors from outside. I know millions of investors that are ready to come to Sierra Leone. We can introduce cruise ships to connect Sierra Leone to Gambia and so forth along the coast. We can also do inland water sports, shipping, and monumental activities. We can also do fishing sports. These are all areas that could be developed to encourage tourists to come here.
Which one of these do you think can be your immediate priority as president?
I want to start cruise ship. I will make Freetown the center, and the cruise ships will leave. One will leave going northwards to Mauritania, and the other going down to Ivory Coast. I will invest money in it. I have it, and I will transport tourists along the coast first, and then I go to the air, start flying them from Europe, from America, into Sierra Leone.
Okay, let me come to Guestford Victor Williams of Rennie. What's your idea? What do you think you can bring in to change the current way the tourism industry is being run, to make it much more attractive, to bring in more tourists into Sierra Leone?
Well, first of all, in our manifesto, we actually propose that we will create 4.5 million jobs. And out of that 4.5 million jobs, roughly about 200 to 400 will be in the tourist industry. So we've already done our homework, a proper roadmap for Sierra Leone. You see, the tourist industry is a generating machine of any economy. So the first thing that we need to do is that Sierra Leone is the only country in Africa where the ex-slaves actually repatriated back, and that alone will bring in, I guarantee this, will bring in over 100,000 of tourists a year into Sierra Leone. And it's not just bringing these expats to see how slaves they resettle, but it's also to open up for the younger generation. We got beautiful sun. We got a sun that it never sets. Yeah, over 365 days you will always have a sunshine. But other countries do have darkness, but Sierra Leone never. So one thing that we believe in is not just creating an industry that will actually perpetuate jobs into the economy, but also we'll create an industry that is going to be long-lasting, that will become priority number one, where people will be flying from America, Europe, Asia, just to visit Sierra Leone, just like people are doing now to go to South Africa. We have all those capabilities. I know most of us will talk about the infrastructures, but let me tell you one thing. Places like Namibia, they don't have proper infrastructures, but their tourism is paramount to the economy. Places like Kenya, their infrastructures are in place, but the tourism is not a paramount because they depend on financial services, which I believe underrated will create as well. So you see, tourism comes in two hands. You need to make sure that your financial services sector is efficient for you to able to generate more people, because most tourists that came in, they always use their cash card. And Sierra Leone does not have that facility, and that's why we're struggling to catch up with other people, and Rennie will bring this into Sierra Leone.
He is the flag bearer of Rennie. Now, Ansumana, for why? As president, some people say if we get the tourism industry in its right footing, that alone can help Sierra Leone's economy. What's your own idea that you think is different from what the others have said?
The first thing we will improve on the security sector, because without the security sector being, people have the confidence in the security sector, if tourists will not come to the country. That will be the first thing we will do. We work with the security sector, like ONS and all the other security sectors, to see that our tourist attraction areas are protected, and that these people, when they go there, they have nothing to fear. I will also look at the infrastructures as because without good roads, without good transportation, you cannot expect people to go to these tourist attractions. We have a lot of tourist attractions from in this country. For instance, I'm coming from the Tona Peninsula. The longest peninsula is Sierra Leone. The longest beach is Sierra Leone. There I'm coming from. These areas can be transformed into tourist attractions, and we can use them. We also look at tourism. We have lots of good rivers and so forth. We can make these things attract tourist attractions, but we have to depend on the security sector so that they can able to protect the tourists that community. We also have to invest in encourage investors to come here so that they can invest in tourist infrastructures in the country.
Okay. Now we've done this round. Let's now 30 seconds each. Dr. Kabuta from the UNPP. How can you take Sierra Leone, the minds of Sierra Leoneans from diamond to the tourism industry?
Right. In the first place, the diamonds are mined in the east around Kono district. What I would do is open highways, you know, in linking Sierra Leone to Guinea, and then, you know, introduce markets, produce markets between these two countries. And I will engage the Kono people in the first place in the marketing of their products like banana, oranges, and cassava, whatever they have. So they focus on the market there, and as soon as they start doing that, they will realize that they could also make money from this
Dr.
product.
Time is up. Madam Femi Claudia School, many times people in Sierra Leone say, we have diamonds, we have gold, we have this, we have that. How can you take the minds of Sierra Leoneans from that to the tourism industry?
Take the minds of the Sierra Leonean people from focusing on diamonds and tourism?
No, not to focus on the issue of diamond or gold or bauxite, but to know that tourism can boost our country.
I think the people actually have an idea, because as we're speaking, there are tourists that come to Sierra Leone primarily just to fish. There are tourists that come to Sierra Leone just to hike. As you travel around different areas, tourists are there looking at butterflies. And there are areas where people, once income starts to come in, people will embrace it. Because only few areas of Sierra Leone are actually benefiting from the diamonds or from the minerals. And I think if it's something that's going to generate income, people will embrace it.
Dr. Baba Conte?
Well, you have to develop tourism to such an extent that you bring these people from those areas, because it's all about survival. You know, I think if they have a very good alternative, you know, say, you develop tourism at its highest height, and then you focus on, you take into consideration that since it will be the policy, you give them employment from that end, because you are trying to bring them away from the, you know, to tourism. So if we don't develop to that height, then, you know, you cannot employ most of them.
Mohamed Siba, do you think that is visible, that is achievable, to make Sierra Leoneans know that we have sites, we have touristic sites? If only we can harness them, we can generate more money than diamond and gold.
Yes, I think that's feasible, and that's part of what we call an economic diversification plan. We've had our economy crumble simply because we focus on mineral-based revenue. And even the mineral-based revenue that we focus on, the royalty that we receive, we get 6%. When you look at the sub-Saharan standard, it's 35–40%. So what I would do to discourage, to create a more focus on other areas is we need to industrialize Sierra Leone.
Your time is up, Mr. Bat. Dr. Sandy, do you think that is possible?
Yes, it is.
Or do you think that is the way to go?
Yes, it is. We have to give civic education to our people. That natural resources we have, when you look at natural resource governance, we have renewable resources versus non-renewable. Diamonds are non-renewable, they will finish one day. But renewable resources like forestry, fisheries, agriculture, go to Tasso Island. I worked with the cooperative society in Tasso Island in the 90s, and they're still, I'm sure they are understanding what I'm saying here. Bones Island, like my brother was saying, that's a beautiful city there. So let's educate our people in terms of civic education that diamond will finish one day. Iron ore can finish one day.
Your time is up,
Dr.
Victor Williams, do you think that is the way to go?
Well, first of all, on the RENIP, we're going to create 4.5 million jobs. You see, the reason why our citizens are actually so concerned about the natural resources, forget about the diamonds. Yeah, we don't really know how many diamonds are on the floor. But the reason why people are so concerned about the natural resources is because they have no hope. They have no future. And you see, tourism is not a paramount on the RENIP. What is paramount is to create jobs that is sustainable. Jobs that is going to give you a better education, jobs that are going to give you a better, well-paid jobs out there. And that's what we specialize in. And that's what we'll do.
The man from IUF and Sumana Forward, do you think that is the way to go? We can focus our minds from diamond to tourism?
Yes, we can focus. We can refocus our attention, the attention of the Sierra Leoneans from diamonds. My arguments have always been that diamonds cannot help us in this country. We have to leave this diamond argument and concentrate on, like, eco-tourism, agro-tourism. We can, do away with this diamond argument as well. The ecosystem, the tourism sector can help us greatly.
Patrick Udwaya, do you support the views of your colleagues?
No, I don't. Because for me, I think we can use diamonds to transform this country. We have 7,700 square miles of diamonds in this country, 6.5 million tons of diamonds. So when my brother here says, oh, we don't know what we have in diamonds, that is not true. We have 6.5 million tons of diamonds that we're selling for next to nothing, 10 times less. We're selling it to the international market. You cannot separate tourism and diamonds. We should embrace our past and our current. Diamonds are part of Sierra Leone's makeup. We have so much of it, we can build tourism around it, use the money from the diamonds, cause value addition to it, and then invest the money in tourism.
Thank you very much, viewers. You are watching the presidential debate for 8 presidential candidates, which is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. But let's go to another issue now. Social security. Social security is one of the ways that countries look after their old people. The reason why in 2002 the National Social and Security Insurance Trust, NASIT, was established. Since the creation of NASIT, many Sierra Leoneans who have retired have had the benefits, though it is believed that a package given to retirees is not enough to look after their old age. What should be done to make the trust better for Sierra Leonean pensioners? Let me start with you, Gresford Victor Williams. I'll give you 2 minutes. What do you think we should do to better NASIT, if I could put it that way, if you become president of Sierra Leone?
Well, first of all, in our manifesto, we said we're going to create 4.5 million jobs. We're going to make Sierra Leone be food self-sufficiency. We're going to look at our old age people. We're going to look at the employment. In Sierra Leone, currently, the minimum wage is 500,000. But when you look across the country, that does not actually, you can't even feed your family. You can't even feed yourself, let alone your family. So for you to live in Freetown, you need 2.5. In the east or the southern part, you need 1.5. In the north and the northwest, you need 1.6 million. So what that tells you, it tells you here that your insurance, your social security that you're paying, it's not sufficient. And what do you need to do? You need to open up your economy, that people should be able to live on the RENIP. We said if you're not working, we're going to give you social security. If you pensioners, we're going to pay you, that you can be able to live a decent life because you've worked all your life. Why should you be living on chicken change? Brother, that is not the way that Sierra Leone should be run. We should be able to make sure that each and everyone in Sierra Leone able to meet the basic needs. And it's not just, say, paying people of old age. What about those not working? Like, I was out campaigning, I spoke to a gentleman. He said he'd never worked for 38 years in this country.
So as president, will you support this kind of
and that is waste labor, is a youth. Why is he not producing? Why is he not doing something? On the RENIP, we say that if you're not working, we're going to pay you money to live on because we're so confident that we're going to provide jobs for you. So you don't need that.
So people living without working?
Oh yeah, because how do you think that person is going to live? You're going to see the crime rate is going to drop dramatically. Because how do you think somebody is going to sustain their family? And this gentleman has 3 children and a wife, and he's never worked for 38 years. You tell me how you think he's going to sustain his family. Yeah, let's be realistic here. We need to look at ways and means to make sure that we open up Sierra Leone and open up the tax system in Sierra Leone.
Your time is up. Dr. Kabuta, do you think there is a way we can change the current NASIT to make it much more beneficial to retirees?
Yes, I think so, because the NASIT is working on taxes, and you don't get taxes from people who don't work. So what we can do as a government is to create job opportunities for Sierra Leoneans and make sure that they are well paid, and from their salaries they should be able to pay taxes. And what I'm seeing is that we have 50% of the working group, the working age in Sierra Leone not being employed. Some are self-employed, and self-employment, in fact, what you see on the streets is not even paying them. You see somebody having a tray with 1 packet of cigarette. What can he earn from that? You can't tax him. NRA is not touching them. So what we do is to restructure the economy by improving our agriculture. Present agricultural system is selling raw materials. Even in the mining, we send out raw material. We'll find out ways of processing our agricultural product even before exporting them. That will bring more income, and that will employ more people into the working group in order to pay for services, their taxes, and so forth. And all this might contribute to our economy.
Okay, Pati Kuduwaya, what do you think as president you would do to make older people have better pension service?
Well, the fund right now is at risk because the money that is being invested from the fund are not being invested in sustainable projects that are high yielding returns. So what we will do is ensure that any money that is taken from the fund to invest in private-public partnership projects must have high returns on investment. We've seen NACIT money used to build hotels, and those hotels are bankrupt. I can call friends and folks' names now. You know some of the hotels along the beach that are bankrupt, and they are friends of the president or associated with the government. So we should stop using the fund to patronize party loyalists to invest in bad investment. Use the fund to invest in healthcare delivery services. Use the fund to invest in agro-processing facilities. Use the fund to invest in value addition in our mining industry so that we can process our ore here and export it, or get the Gold and Diamond Institute right here and cut and polish our diamond and sell it for 10 times more. That's what we will do to keep the fund solvent in the first place. Secondly, when we spend $1 billion in job creation, when we close the loop from the royalties, we will be able to get $7 billion in the economy back to the country annually. That money will invest $1 billion in job creation that can generate jobs that are paying living wages so that the fund can be solvent. People are paying in. You can't keep NACIT sustainable when you have 65% unemployment in the youth population. The youth are going to pay for the older people. But let me say this. I'm going to stop speaking English in this because we're not communicating to our people. We for stop for take the money and put on bad investment. We for stop that one day. We for put we money pan good investment where they get the returns of money. So we will continue for pay the older people them, and for create job for the younger people them.
From the RUFP, what are you going to do for NACIT?
Yeah, first
for those who are working, once they retire, they go home with a better package.
The first thing we will try to review the policies of NACIT and see whether they are, they are good for the people, especially the old age people. We'll also try to see that they become independent institution. Without government interference, whatever interference, we should try to see that the interference are ended. We also see that NACIT creates care homes for the aged, in all the districts, because that's one of the areas when you retire, where do you go? Where do you go for proper care? We see that these areas have to be created all over the country.
You need money to run those kind of homes?
Yeah, well, Sierra Leone is not a poor country. Let me tell you this, Sierra Leone is not a poor country. It is the management of our proceeds of the natural resources that we have problem with. Understand? We can provide these facilities for our people. Understand? We'll also look at the medical care for the aged. These things can be provided for in Sierra Leone.
Madam Femi Cole, your own idea for pensioners?
Yeah, I think the pensioners are getting a really short end of the stick. NACIT is going to have to do better investment. But the secret to it is more people working and earning a decent wage, more people will pay into NASIT. Right now we have high unemployment, so it's a lovely concept. But how much can this work in Sierra Leone, even for a new person taking over the reins of government? NASIT can only work if there are more people in the population working and earning a decent wage. Then you can pay into NASIT, and then you get a better pension coming out of it when you get older. But right now in Sierra Leone, the pensioners are really in a bad shape. Pensioners are earning 60,000 leones per month, which is not livable. They pick it up, I think, once every 6 months. So we're going to have to do something to stimulate the economy, to have jobs that people actually earn a decent wage, where a portion of that can go to NASIT and invest in their own future. A system where we can give money out to people who are not working. I don't think Sierra Leone is there yet. I think we're still years away from getting to that point.
So you want to disagree with Mr. Williams' point?
I am disagreeing with Mr. Williams' point.
Dr. Babakonte, meaning the economy needs to be expanded, more jobs need to be created if you want to pump money into NASIT. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree. Because the more people you have employed, the more money we get into NASIT. So I think I don't have to waste time on that.
You have 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes. That's the only answer. You know, the more people you get employed, then you can have more money into the coffers of NASIT. Then they can invest in other areas.
How would you make NASIT much more open up, so that the more NASIT is open, the more investment they have, the more sources of revenue they have, the bigger their coffers become?
It's to invest in housing projects, because definitely when you invest in housing, inevitably people need houses. You can invest in industries, depending on what you have. But for the fact that the main focus is that you should have more people in employment, because this is from their money. It's their money that goes to the. If you have few people, then few money will go into the coffers of NASIT.
Mohamed Siba of the NDA, the issue of taking care of the aged is very crucial here. That is what we are discussing now.
Right.
As president of Sierra Leone, how would you ensure that more money is pumped into NASIT and older people get better pensions?
Well, it's a strategy approach. First of all, I think the conversation here is more focused on investment issue. No, the problem with NASIT is a corruption issue. President Tijan Kaba, when he built that institution, it was out of a compassionate mind of caring for the retiree. The problem with NASIT is there is a cesspool of corruption in NASIT. Okay, and that's one of the things that I'll bring when I become president of Sierra Leone, who would address the problem of corruption. Because the internal auditing specifically shows how contracts were signed, and these contracts up till this day are not accounted for. There is a lack of transparency mechanism, and those things need to be addressed. So the issue of NASIT, we have to look at it from an institutional standpoint, and then we have to look at it from an employee. Now, the issue of collecting taxes from employees comes through the employer. I think there's a weak revenue collection in that area. There's also another problem. The beneficiaries, like Madam Femiko rightly said, it doesn't reflect the inflation or the cost of living standard. So one first approach in reforming NASIT is to address the issue of corruption, making sure we reform the management system, making sure there are ethical values of operations.
But even if you are to do that, and then you still need more money to be pumped into NASIT to take care of the agent.
Yeah, money.
So how would you do that?
Well, first of all, we have a very low employment sector in this country. So revenues are very weak. Revenues are very low. So what NASIT has been doing is to rely on investment. And according to the internal auditing, it shows that investments have yielded very poor return. So NASIT has not been profitable. And so what I would do is have a strategy approach in reforming the institutions, making sure corruption is reduced. We can build on those revenues.
Mohamed, by your time is up. Dr. Sandy, do you think investment is the way to turn things around to take care of the aged, the retirees in Sierra Leone?
Yes, first of all, in terms of institutional memory, I was part of the social policy formulation for NASIT. And the whole idea was many of us who were in government at that time, or those who work in government, as my brother was saying, people end up corrupting, grand corruption, because everybody wants to build a house. That's a fact. Every permanent secretary, director, because when we go back to our villages and the people want to say, did you build a house after all the years you worked? So everybody wants to build a house there. So in that process, we said NASIT should support affordable housing scheme. That was President Kaba's thought, where you have mortgage housing like we have low-cost housing and that. But look at how the investment we have put into Angola town and other investment through home finance company. Are they yielding dividends for the pensioner? Can they afford those things? So what we would like to do is really to see that, one, when I'm president, under the directive of the National Unity and Reconciliation Party, is to ensure that we conduct a strategic review, functional review of the NASIT itself, to look at the scheme, whether it's meeting the social protection aim for those people. And then secondly, informal sector. The informal sector, we know that the private sector people are not well involved into this. We know that NASIT have started this only for the public sector. We want to make sure that the private sector gets in the investment in health and insurance. Health insurance, affordable housing, and make sure that home for the aged. Look at quarantine. All those places which we used to put our age, we don't care for them anymore. So in my honest view, we need to review the NASIT scheme itself and see whether it's meeting the need for the retired, especially vulnerable groups like those who have suffered from the war, those who have suffered from Ebola, those who have suffered from mudslide and flooding. There should be some scope for them.
Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds each on this particular issue before we go to the final one. Let me start with you this round, Madam Femi Cole, in just 30 seconds. How would you address the issue of PPP, the public-private partnership? If you become president, how would you ensure that NASIT engages the private sector in a better way? So that, because people, it is what some people say, if NASIT has prudent investments, they are going to plow that money to take care of the aged.
Which is true, if they do have prudent investment. But again, how are they going to harness that in the money to invest? We're going to have people working and earning in order for those partnerships to be strengthened. Right now, we have such high unemployment rates that there is no way that NASIT is going to be a very strong institution until we take a few steps back and now look at how we're going to create people coming into Sierra Leone, Sierra Leoneans themselves.
Dr. Alakonte, the issue of PPP, public-private partnership.
Well, I buy the idea actually, because it's not easy for government to do everything alone. But it depends on, I think national should find very serious partners of international character to go into business with. You know, when you go into business with those institutions, the returns are usually high, especially when properly controlled. We are in for public-private partnership.
Okay, Dr. Kabuta, do you think the PPP is a way to go?
Well,
to get more money for NASIT?
In a way, because the private sector will create the employment. So if you give them the incentive to employ more people, then the people will receive more income and they can pay their taxes, and that will swell the finances in the NASIT. And it's like chicken and egg thing. So the private people employ and money comes to the people, the public.
Your time is up. Particularly where you are coming from, you have a lot of experience operating in the private sector. How would you inject that idea into making our social security investment much more viable?
Well, first of all, we look at how we onboard projects. There are requirements that has to be met to ensure that this project will give us the return on investment. So we do those alternative business case studies first. I don't think proper business case analysis are being done before projects are onboarded, before commitment is made to spend NASIT money in those investments. So that is why we're having bad investment. So it's not just whether the partner is a foreigner or a Sierra Leonean. You can have a Sierra Leonean partner, but you have to make sure the project has sound financial.
Your time is up. Asman Afawai?
Yes, I support the idea of private and public partnership, especially with NASIT, because the the private sector will provide more jobs so that with these jobs they can able to have more finance to support NASIT. The NASIT will be able to create these care homes and other institutions that we need to care for our aged.
Professor William, do you think the private sector is a better way to partner with NASIT to make its coffers larger?
Well, first of all, as a specialist in that area, we have helped other organizations and governments. You see, the PPP or the PPI or private-public investment, it never works. We see they have issues in England, America, Australia. You see, what we need to do is to make sure that we actually invest in these areas by buying properties or lands abroad where they can generate so much income that these people can able to live on. You see, we know here in Sierra Leone it does not provide that revenue.
Your time is up. Go straight out. Dr. Sani, do you agree with
No. I think for me, I come from
investing overseas.
Yes, I come from national security PPP model. I've done public policy and management, Manchester University. Tells you is the best in terms of internal rate of return, economic, because you need executive oversight of this project. So without, who are the winners and losers of NASIT? I've said we establish NASIT for those labor force who can make sure they have better housing but you cannot leave it to the private sector. The winners should be our citizens. So therefore, public-private partnership model is the best model. Privatization, the railway, the air.
Is that the way you would go?
Privatization
path?
Well, yes, based on building a strong private sector. Now, I would not invest in a cruise ship when I know I need to invest in agriculture because I need to feed my people. But yes, we need to build a strong private sector that can create tax revenues, and those tax revenue will be a source of income for NASIT, and those income will be redistributed to what you call the beneficiary. So a strong private sector will complement NASIT.
Honestly, by your time is up. Well, viewers, you are watching this presidential debate, which is coming to you from Freetown, from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. You're also listening to this program on SLBC Radio FM 100. Well, let's go to the final issue tonight, which has to do with entertainment. Well, many young Sierra Leoneans have interest in the entertainment industry, especially music, but actualizing their dream is the most difficult task. A few through music or other artistic works have had some fortunes, but majority are yet to realize their capacity. What is stagnating the growth of the industry, and how will political parties turn things around? Dr. Kabuta, let me start with you this round. In the music industry, some people say it's an area that we've not done much. It is still untapped. As a party, in 2 minutes, sir.
Oh, I think what we should do is to create the facilities for the artists. There are a lot of youths involved in making music. Sometimes we walk on the street and you hear people saying, oh, I have a clip, I want to record it, and so forth. But the facilities are limited. We need to have a series of practicing rooms in Europe. Every city has 4 or 5 rooms where people go to practice, and play instruments. They could play the whole day and night, and improve themselves. They get subsidies from government, to do recordings or to organize performances, public performances, but also private. And we have to give them a lot of facilities and incentives in terms of subsidies. And we have to be able to promote them. I will have a whole department to look at that when I become the president of this country. I'll promote them, I'll provide studios at cost that everybody can afford, and I will also have recording studios massive over the country, and I make the Sierra Leone artists competitive to other African countries like Nigeria and so forth.
So how would you make Sierra Leoneans appreciate Sierra Leonean songs, Sierra Leonean music?
Well, it's a matter of doing it over and over again. I know Sierra Leoneans, we listen to Congolese music, we don't understand a word. But because we play it over and over, people seem to appreciate it. When we do sing our own songs and do play them over and over and let our people appreciate them, then they will surely appreciate them, they will prefer them. In Europe, I know in the diaspora, most people are buying Sierra Leonean music and they are appreciating it very well.
Victor Williams?
Very sorry, Victor Williams. First of all, what we believe is that Sierra Leone should have free education, and with free education up to WAS level, we know that our children, they're going to be better educated and those attending school, they will have free meal, 1 meal a day. So we know that they're going to be in a better position. And doing that is going to enlighten our children to able to participate in sports and entertainment. You see, the issue in Sierra Leone that we do face is that the Sierra Leonean music has no tune. I will repeat that again. The Sierra Leonean music has no tune. Like, for example, you take a Nigerian music or a Ghanaian music, they all have similar tune. You take an American music, they have similar tune because they play it on a C major. And whereas in Nigeria, they play it on a D minor. You see, whereas Sierra Leone, we use the entire keyboard. So what we need to do, first of all, is to educate our children to understand the principles of music. And that, in turn, will give our youngsters a better platform that they can develop and become a masterpiece in the world. You see, music is entertainment. You see, our people that they used to take over as slaves, what happened? They took their drums with them. They took music to other lands that never had it before, and they developed it. And these people now copy those music, and then now they're selling it back to us.
So do you think it's an industry that can generate revenue for the country?
It's simple, like I simply said. You see, education is power. And if our government provides free education, when we say free, means free, these kids, they will have so much energy, so much enthusiastic, so much knowledge to empower the world. And this is what Sierra Leone needs. Sierra Leone doesn't need people to say, this is what we need to do, that what we need to do. Let the children design exactly what they want. Let the musician design exactly what they want, like other people have done it. For example now, we have a powerful Sierra Leonean singing in America. I'm pretty sure most of us don't know about that. As well, in Australia as well. You see, because we allow people to just engulf in certain things that does not materialize certain things. So we need to empower people to make sure that they understand exactly what they're doing.
As forward, do you think the music industry is yet to be tapped into?
Yes, we need to tap into the music industry, and not only the music industry, but even like storytelling, because these are part of entertainment. We have to really encourage storytelling and like comedy, you know, comedians. We need to encourage them so that I agree with my brother by this idea of institutions to educate our musicians. Why is it that people appreciate Emerson's song? Because he sings on issues that affect people's lives. Understand? So we have to talk to our musicians also to sing on something that touch on the people's life, reality.
So how would you help the young Sierra Leonean musicians to make the industry, to give it the economic face, to make it not only to sing for pleasure, but to sing and make money, make the industry viable?
We create a platform, we provide the institutions that we help them to learn more. They provide also the studios. If they don't have these facilities, how can they improve themselves? We have to provide. We have to help as a government to provide these institutions.
Free of cost?
Not free of cost. That there comes in the private.
The PPP.
Yes, sector.
Yes, Paddy Kuduwaya, making the music, giving it the economic face, not only to sing for pleasure, but to sing, make money, become the icon, for instance.
So, waiting me go do as president, I go put money into the school system for develop the performing art. Because you need for nurture the culture in a structural manner, in a learning approach. People then just sit down more than play, then write lyrics, then go freestyle. You need for learn and master the skills. So you start that from childhood. So retrofit the school system for allow for extracurriculum activities, give money to the schools them for make sure so they're able to get music teachers that are qualified and get the facilities for let them begin then train, not only music, but arts and craft and even the performing arts, poetry, and we need the infrastructure. We don't get theaters anymore, We need theaters in every district. We go call on school district, but we go call on constituency. Government get a role for play. Connect with the local council, ensure that we get them mega facilities here, where we pick in there, and maybe put them within the university structures them. Then the community can use the university then theater for let them showcase their talent. So you get for invest in startup companies. The one that we're already there into music, where they look for funding for set up their studios,
you know, you need for able for take risk on them. The other thing I want to say before my time go up, I want for able for ensure their talent is protected. Intellectual property laws need to be enforced.
There is already a law on that.
Yes, but I say enforce. I know say the law and they, all the law and then as alone. We are the most law compliance country, but we know they enforce nothing.
Madam Femi Cole?
Well, first of all, I want to disagree. Say salon music no get tune. I think say salon music for me, I thoroughly they enjoy the new music. And I feel say salon musicians, they don't come a long way. They really have. Now they go business, all you hear is salon music. Incorporating music into the curriculum at school is a good idea. Right now, almost every high school has a band. Before, there was just a few bands. So, maybe royalties for let musicians begin to get compensated for their music. Now their music is pirated and sold, and they don't realize any money from it. So maybe one, insert music into the curriculum. Two, have pirating laws that actually protect
So how would you
musicians.
make the musician realize his potential by putting money into his pockets because of what he has done in the studio?
Well, in other countries, you can't just pirate somebody's music, copy it and distribute it ad lib. But in Sierra Leone, they're not, I don't think they're getting the returns from the music that they're actually making. And as we say, it's not just music. It's also the drama, acting, and comedy. I think Sierra Leone has really come a long way. And we Sierra Leoneans are now enjoying Sierra Leonean music and comedy. You now go to functions and you have comedians performing. And I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Dr. Baba Conte?
Well, first and foremost, you have to we introduce music into the curriculum up to musical academies. So what happens with our musicians is that they have the talent, but it's very crude. We need to develop it by introducing music into the schools up to music. The reason being, you know, for them to know how to play different instruments of international character, I'll call it, violin and all those, you know, wind instruments, so that even when so that training them, they should not be limited to only in Sierra Leone. That even when they go out, you know, they'll be able to measure up. You see, you have to establish musical schools, musical academies, you know, so it becomes a very serious subject. Music is a science of itself.
Okay.
You see.
Mohamed Siba, do you agree with Dr. Kande?
Well,
open music schools for
I agree with him, but I disagree with my brother Bresford there. Talking about Sierra Leone music doesn't have a beat. Well, let me disclose to him. I'm a musician also. I have an album. After the election, I think I'll give him a copy of my music. but here is it. I think I shared most of the opinions that they have stated. We need to invest in our school curriculum in the musical area, train them so that they can capture that passion. We need to have a musical academy where they can go train and enhance it. And we need to look at music not only from an entertainment point of view, but also from a job creating point of view, also from a revenue collecting point of view.
How would you do that?
Have a very structured musical industry where we can have a state-of-the-art music studio. Potential artists will come in there and record their music. Those studios will pay taxes. Those musicians, and I agree with the intellectual property right protection. So some of those musicians, their music will be protected, and I think that industry will flourish.
Dr. Sandy, how can you make the industry much more viable, give it the economic taste, the economic look, so that we have our own icons in Sierra Leone? They have millions of dollars at their disposal.
When you look at the African Union policy, the ECOSOC policy on the African Union arts, Africa is unique in terms of our solidarity in music. If we can only do music on the continent, I think we are better off. Just music, look at Congo, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone and Ghana. If Nigeria has the same thing like my colleagues are saying, then we need to focus on music and develop that. Because the youth we have on this continent have innovative ideas and creativity. So for example, I know there is a direct relationship between supporting social development program as foundation for economic growth and development. So education policy, we need to review to reflect the need for strengthening. When I was in school, in boys' school, Mabroka, one of the most beautiful area we had was music industry and metal work and woodwork. We need to go back to those things. Number two, we need to organize the Music and Cassette Sellers Association, because it's not just about the musical policy we have now, because we know fundamentally the problem is piracy, and so how do we address piracy? By organizing the Music and Cassette Sellers Association, strengthen the organizational change management. Number three, alignment of our tourism. We spoke about tourism and culture. How do we make sure that we align our tourism needs and culture with the musical industry so that they can complement each other, so that that can bring economic growth and return? And lastly, we need to create a revolving fund, because as we say, most of these young people, for example, the National Unity and Reconciliation Party, we have a lot of young people who are artists, who are footballers, who are entertainers, but they don't have resources. So we want, through the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, to establish a revolving fund to support the musical industry and then the Cassette Sellers Association.
Well, I think we are going to end the debate shortly from now, but let me just give 30 seconds each. The people of Sierra Leone are watching, some are listening to you. Tell them in 30 seconds why you think they should vote for you to become the next president of Sierra Leone. I will start from this angle. Gresford Victor Williams from the UNE party. 30 seconds. Talk to the people of Sierra Leone now.
Well, my people, as you know, for the past 57 years, you've always been in poverty and struggle. And it's only RENIP that promotes prosperity and growth. I believe that if you vote RENIP in, Republic National Independence Party, that's what you'll get. You'll get prosperity. And we're not just providing jobs, creating 4.5 million jobs, or making Sierra Leone become full self-sufficiency, or giving free education, or getting better education by providing 250,000 medical centers around. But we also going to make sure that your life is better. And this is what we preach, and this is what we promote.
From the Revolutionary United Front Party in 30 seconds. Why the people should vote for you come March 7? Your party?
Yeah, because we are going to provide them the best alternative for this country. Our agenda, our manifesto is agenda for radical transformation of structures, attitudes, and behavior. We think that when we review the laws of this country, the institutions, we really provide the proper foundations of this country. All other things will follow, and we will be able to solve the problems of this country together.
Party Kodwaya?
Well, we have the golden key. I have the golden key. And support. This now they use for open the doors of opportunities for all we people in this country. The door they will not lock pound up our education, we want for open out $1 billion. We want for close the loopholes them in we extractive industry. We lost $7 billion a year in revenue. We lock down all day with the same golden key and support, and we open the door of opportunity for invest $1 billion into job creation. We open the door of opportunity for invest $1.2 billion in healthcare. We open the door of opportunity for invest $2 billion in agriculture.
Dr. Sir-Henry Kabunta of UNPP, why people should vote for you March 7?
Yeah, UNPP will certainly bring transformational leadership. We've been deprived for so long, nearly 60 years in this country, and with our experience from abroad, from within the country, from our knowledge we've required, we know we can turn this country to a better state. We know we can bring good education, we can bring good health, we can bring transportation facilities, tourism, agriculture can be improved, mining sector, and name it.
Thank you, Madam Femi Cole from United Party.
Unity Party.
So, Unity Party.
Sierra Leone needs a change. Sierra Leone needs a leader that actually loves the Sierra Leonean people. One who realizes that the Sierra Leonean people have been on a struggle. We've been marching on one spot. Sierra Leone has not moved forward. We need a leader who loves Sierra Leone, who likes the people of Sierra Leone, and wants to see the struggle of Sierra Leone end, where people can lead a decent life, be able to work, earn, raise your family, and live in a prosperous Sierra Leone.
Dr. Baba Conte.
Mr. Ba, I don't want to deceive the people of this nation. I've gone around the country, I've spoken with my members, and conditions are not favorable for me to win this election. So as a result, I'm using this opportunity to talk to them that they give their support to my brother.
Oh.
I have my brother, Dr. Samuel Akama. Let them give them my support.
Mohamed Siba of NDA.
Well, this I go talk na Creole. Look, people then. 57 years, same old thing. We don't get two party than this country. They don't change. 37 years, 17 years, same old, same old. The people them, same actors them. What do you go offer Sierra Leone that change? Number one, this hunger with the addresser of this country. Number two, this corruption with the fix up. Country not to go before if you not get honest, transparent, and ethical leadership. So a simple thing we want to offer Salome. Transformational leadership. A leadership based on trust. At least let history record say we'll get Sierra Leoneans them where they care for the people. We'll get Sierra Leoneans the way they want to bring.
Your time is up, Dr. Sandy.
Yes, Baba. We are all aware that Sierra Leone is currently faced with multiple and complex challenges, be it from external or internal. We're also aware that both in terms of foreign policy and domestic policy issues, we are suffering from debt, external debt, we are suffering from poverty, unemployment. Jobs are not there, people are living in hardship. So if you give me as a candidate of the National Unity and Reconciliation Party, I can trust you that I can be an effective commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the security sector, which is the largest sector in our country. I can manage them well. Number two, I will ensure that the National Security Council this and then the head of cabinet.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sandy. Well, that's how we end this edition of this presidential debate, which came to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. We want to thank our viewers, part of our audience. We want to show them to you. They were part of this program. They've witnessed it. They've seen it all. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, well, that's how we end this edition of this presidential debate, which came to you live from Freetown. But before I go, I must say thank you to the executive producer, who is the acting director general of SLBC, Samuel Valcasel, and to the production team, Salmata Jallo, Lucian Ganda, Bamidele Bailey, and Daniel Mosi. On behalf of all of us and all the cameramen behind the scene, I am your host, Asmi Uba. Till we join you again sometime. Keep watching SLBC. God bless you. Goodbye.
They were not part of the highly trumpeted presidential debate of 15th February 2018. They sat on the sidelines and watched. They were players too and belonged to the pitch. So here is the good part. SLBC brings them to you in grand style. Presidential candidates of UNPP, NPD, UP, RUFP, PMDC, PLP, and NDA with lock-ons within the precincts of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Don't miss the presidential candidates live on SLBC on Tuesday, 27th February from 8 to 10 p.m. At SLBC, everyone counts because it's your voice and my voice.
To be part of it all is to seize the advantage of sending a question to mobile number 076-812-174. Remember, it is your country too.